There we go. Okay, we've got Mike now. And what's happening, Froggy? I am very tired. I had a pretty long day. Uh, had to do some doctor's visits, get some paperwork stuff done. You know, usual U.S. citizenship stuff, and I had to pick somebody up from a couple of events at schools and whatnot. I'm tired, but I'm here. Part of it being a rough day is mainly just because of me recovering from like heavy exercise 2 days ago. But no, it's completely fine. I usually will not be doing 5-hour streams unless I generally just lose track of time on weeknights. 5-hour streams are sort of like a Friday, Saturday thing, because if I try to do those during the weekdays, I'll likely wind up waking up too late for work and lose my job. So that's probably a bad idea. They've been like 3-ish, 3:30, but I have to start those early. And I am currently shoving dinner in my mouth. Okay. Should be ready. In the chat. Any stream's better than none. Kind of. I want to actually try to make sure that I keep them semi-frequent. Normally I take Wednesday off of streaming, just specifically because I know I get tired out from all the other stuff I have to do once in a while, but last week of Orcs, an important time. I am currently eating a chicken quesadilla from a pizzeria that I grew up around as a kid. I happened to be by it, and for nostalgia's sake, I asked them to go and make me one. This particular chicken quesadilla is about the size of a small pizza. They chop up grilled chicken breast, and then I tell them to throw in some garlic and onions, and then sprinkle it with garlic powder, onion powder, a little bit of salt and pepper. And then they chop all of it up on a grill, toss it on top of a tortilla, add the cheese, grill the tortilla, and then press another tortilla on top of it. And then they cut it into triangles like a pizza. Sounds good. Just take out the onions. I like onions. If onions are good for me, if you grill them enough. Raw onions should be reserved for fresh tasting foods like salads and sandwiches, like maybe sandwiches with cold cuts, because that's where I think their presence are felt the most. If you're doing cooked food, I always think you should saute your onions. Like, let them caramelize a little bit so that they get a little bit sweet, and then add those in with the rest of the food. No, it is a texture thing, but like that's the good thing about onions. If you saute your onions, you can either get like crispy sweet onions, you can caramelize them so that you get those kind of mushy sweet onions, or you can leave them fresh so you have like those tart and crunchy onions. It's the difference between eating like onions with salad versus French onion soup. It's a very different texture of onions. Like, that's one of the few things that like a lot of people don't get with like onions. Onions never have good taste or texture to me, just can't. That could mean the wrong onions are being used. Because sweet onions are different than red and yellow onions. Plants just taste different if you use the wrong ones. So, I think the first order of the day is going to be to bomb all of the keys that aren't tier 1. And then, I tried a lot. I can't do it, man. Trust me. Oh, there's like a huge variety of ways to cook almost everything. Like, unless you've cooked it 100 ways, it's really hard to tell whether or not you found one that's suitable for you. And it's okay if you don't want to keep trying. I'm not trying to bully people into liking certain kinds of food. That would never be something that I would do, because I know there's certain things that I just will stay away from, and I have no intention of ever even trying to make it work for me. So I think the first thing to do, I was a culinary major. Oof. So you've probably tried a lot. Hate them. But that's the good thing. Like, with all of the wonderful things that there are to eat in the world, you can skip onions and never look back. No, 50-50 culinary and business. So you learn how to cook, and then you learn how to make sure that you never cook for more than 2 years straight. And I don't use any of that knowledge. The culinary knowledge or the business knowledge? Man, this map is like absolute disasters. Melee minion damage, additional Northman archers, suicide. Either. Oh, wow. No-go breaks, fast heroes, celebratory dance. Whenever a boss of mercenaries killed, you're a sitting duck. No health drops. More mana drops, periodic bomb, increased secondary cooldown, ice armor, spawn protection, persistent rubble, rift point loss on death, and control resistance. So you can only deal damage. Ice heroes don't work. Enemies have double armor for 20 seconds out of spawn, so you can't gate camp. Floor traps cost twice as much. Ugh. I'm just going to prepare for death. Wait, what map was this? Ooh. Alright, so the 20 seconds of spawn protection really isn't that big a deal on this particular map. However, getting the damage here is going to be the tricky part. Osro probably wouldn't be a bad choice. I don't think they had any arcane armor. No. Did you ever use summoners last night? I blacked out after I took my meds. No. Because I literally was like too tired to play another game. I can get a few games in a night. So we're going to bomb this key real quick. And then afterwards, we'll see about starting a level 1 key that can actually get us somewhere. Okay. It's not no love, it was just that we were playing something that didn't warrant the use of Guardians. Alright, so for whatever reason I have them in this deck. This for the most part should work. No ice traps. Increased secondary cooldown is bad for Oziel, but not too bad. Don't really need the mana drops. No health drops, I can regenerate his health by attacking. No go breaks mean I have to run really fast Archers are a bit of an issue, but fire should be good for taking them down. Let's actually just take a mending route, because why not? Now, because this is a tier 11 Chaos Trial trap, or Chaos Trial key, these enemies are probably going to have like final wave health within like the first 2 waves. Meaning, me being under leveled at level 1 is going to be atrociously bad. Also, I need to not try to grab another piece of this quesadilla, because I am going to die as soon as this map starts because of no-go breaks. I kind of wish I could reliably use Black Paw just to cover the distance here, but the amount of damage that he does late game is going to fatigue so hard. Oh crap, double cost floor traps. So bad.
I will reap them. I will reap them. I got these for
How tanky this dude is. Oh no, the bomb. Main issue with the bomb is that it stuns you after it goes off. Like, the rest of the damage and stuff that it does to surroundings, I can probably mitigate by just not tossing out any barricades. This is a barricade-less setup too, isn't it? Oh, you can go there. Holy crap, they already killed the Guardian.
I must be healed.
Enemies at the rift.
The ogre gave no fucks.
Apr-4.
The double cost floor traps are definitely going to be the bane of your existence here.
More than one way to skin a mortal.
Cades would be so costly. Yeah, that's kind of the problem.
This ground is desecrated.
And right about there, like the main reason you need the slows for something like this is because of the armor that they have. Alright, we definitely need that cooldown reduction on the jar, because that is our main tool for dealing damage. Get rid of the healers first, because they already have far too much health. Nope, they're in.
They're entering the rift.
There's a living specimen if you need one.
Those bombs will cost you the game. That's kind of what I expect.
Is this what
I'll do it
I'm
here.
reduced to? Setting
I
traps.
want to put some other stuff here, but like, kinda scary.
Unstable rift is opening. Destroy it.
Can't afford him, can I? Nope. Okay. Like, I honestly need the traps to kill something on their own, but they have so much health so early that without a full trap setup, it's next to impossible.
The unstable rift was not destroyed.
Well,
Enemy minions incoming.
I should have just let it open. This literally might just be game right here.
The rift has been compromised.
Yeah.
A guardian we only have half
Oof.
points remaining.
Yeah, it's game.
More enemies in the rift.
Like, the only way I could probably get this to work is to just make a super cheap physical damage deck. Alright. Give it a shot, though. Rename. Let's get... I can spell. Sometimes. Okay, we're going for the mending root again. Still want chicken McThrowy hands. Bartender works too. Don't want both of those. Bad idea. We'll go for you just in case we actually place any. Start from the back. Hunter traps aren't expensive on this one. I don't think so. Let's do that. We will want to bring wall blades, web spinners. Alright, wall blades are good, but if we decide to bring grinders, their DPS is technically higher over time. The problem is they generally leave... They don't leave gaps. Which means like there's no pacing to really dealing with the enemies. You just have to clean up whatever they manage to not kill. Whereas... we'll go with the wall blades. They're a little bit cheaper. And that is the goal here. These technically are physical too. If I'm not placing a lot of ground traps, they're okay. We definitely are going to bring viscous tar. We can't control much. They no, I'm sorry. Viscous tar is useless here. Use regular tar. Regular tar doesn't have any loss of benefit from the control resistance, because as long as they're on the tar, they're slowed. They can't do anything about that. Okay, damage. Let's use some haymakers. And maybe a barricade? Regular barricade? No, I'm probably never going to place them just because of their cost. Fine. Where is you? Or spikes. Because why not? Physical. Cash. Damage reduction. Damage. I mean, the sense you need to be able to control the lanes because there's no breaks. Kind of. Wait, I didn't save any. Of course not. Wait, no, that wasn't the deck. Well, you always control the lanes by killing things. That's good enough. But the reason that I think I didn't use any caves was once Persistent Rubble showed up on this cave, there was no point. What's going on, Mike G? Hey Mike, have you played any of those new Killing Floor 2 updates?
I don't know what you're fighting over.
An enemy has opened a minion portal.
Persistent Rubble makes it so that whenever a barricade is destroyed, it stays there, takes up one of your trap slots, and you can no longer place traps there. It is probably one of the nastiest abilities in the game.
A spot of damnation.
Did not mean to do it that way, but okay.
Their deaths will be.
I guess I can put one of these there. You know what, we're just going to drop that there for you. Alright, this blows up. Holy crap, that freaking health regeneration that they get is ridiculous. Like, I could literally see his health going up faster than I could do anything about it.
Enemies at the rift.
Missing that was horrible. Yeah, that one's in.
They're entering the rift.
Oh, so apparently all of them.
The rift has been compromised.
But all of those ogres are in.
A guardian has been defeated.
So do I.
Well, damn.
Our rift is failing.
Did I kill anything that wave?
Persistence is the key to long.
So they added a couple new weapons. They added a new map. They haven't added a new boss yet, but they rebalanced a few things, made them interesting. Yeah, like 3, but you know, 3 weapons is enough to make a big difference in that
Perhaps this will
game.
be of use.
Okay.
More than one way to skin a mortal.
Need about 4 of those, I think.
Now time for some ghostly jazz hands.
I could use some ghostly jazz hands.
That looks like it hurt. I need time.
Oh, they're in. That's game. So the only way to get through this is to use consumables. Literally. Man, it's gonna be hard to see this game shut down. Yeah, well. Huh, I wonder, is there... Maybe Max could make this a little bit better with the discounts. Damage will definitely fall off a bit, but we might be able to make that up. We won't be able to make that up. Not at all. Ozio does start off kind of weak, though, without the use of his ultimate. It's actually lacking a bit there. Let's not bring the overload. Let's try bringing some of these. Okay. They don't get the discount, but Max's discount should help in that regard. I expected to lose this key here anyway, though, so. Considering they're still hiring Froggy, I doubt whatever their next game is ready to be released anytime in the near future. They're probably polishing it up for maybe like early 2020 release, if not a late 2019 one. Okay, so
I'll never notice this.
that's what we wanted to do before.
Measure twice, cut once.
Okay.
Shotgun.
Oof.
Electro shields up.
They are literally just not hitting me.
Looks like it hurt.
Yeah, we definitely don't have the deeps here.
Enemies at the rift. They're
Yikes.
entering the rift. We only have half our rift points remaining. A guardian has been defeated. More enemies in the rift.
Wow. Have you ever played for honor? Maybe need a second player. A second player won't actually make much of a difference here. It'll half the damage that I do. The only difference is we can bring more consumables and traps.
Whoopsie. Almost hurt myself on that. I'll just leave this right here. They'll never notice this. Pew! Pew pew!
Really? Just went right through.
You are getting very sleepy.
Actually, I don't even need to worry about those. Let them go.
Crossbow in the line of cool. I just keep getting better. Trying this out for sure.
Okay, that was bad. Yep, that's game. I can't kill any of these
Our
ogres.
rift is failing.
I've never played For Honor personally. I've seen it. Didn't really seem like something that I wanted to jump into immediately. Like, I personally grew up playing a lot of RPGs, and so most of the games that I play have a lot of RPG mechanics, not just because they happen to like include them, because RPGs have become like a ubiquitous genre over the course of the last 20 years or so, but just because those are kind of the things that I like playing. Roguelikes, action RPGs, and to some extent, just general action games. Okay, now that we've gotten rid of the impossible key. What's the Rift Lord Tier 8 at Castle Gates? Ratchet and Clank or Sly Cooper? Personally, I like Ratchet and Clank. Sly Cooper is fun too, though. But I always like the ingenuity of Ratchet and Clank's ideas and the fact that they're so cartoony and fun. Oh man, but mentioning Sly Cooper, that reminds me of the fact that the Sly Cooper movie got canceled because the Ratchet and Clank movie did not do well. A friend of mine was really looking forward to the not the Ratchet and Clank, the Sly Cooper film. We actually went to see the Ratchet and Clank movie. And man, was that theater empty. It may have had the opportunity to do better if the Ratchet and Clank movie didn't just bomb. But as far as the Ratchet and Clank game series, great. Camera freeze, primary knockback, no go and managing. Don't they have a new Ratchet and Clank game coming out, Froggy? Hold up. No. I thought I'd heard something about a new Ratchet and Clank game coming out, but looks like I was wrong. It was the first game. The first Ratchet and Clank had been remade for PS4. And that was a while ago. But still, Ratchet and Clank is a series. Amazing stuff. It's one of the few like action platformers that just stayed interesting. And out of like the entire history of platform games being created in like the last, I don't know, 20 years or so, like there's been a ton. Like there have been some really good ones. There have been some ones that like people are still playing now, like Super Mario 64. But Ratchet and Clank is probably one of the better ones, and it didn't like lose like the core of its game or try to redefine itself every iteration the same way that some other platformers did, like Banjo-Kazooie and then Banjo-Tooie, or well, Jak and Daxter, which literally became like a very different game every time they got to a new iteration. I played like the first Jak and Daxter, and then by the time they got to Jak and Daxter 3, it felt like a completely different game. Yeah, Insomniac did stop to work on some other games. They made the heavily like well acclaimed Spider-Man game for PS4. So if they do get back to making Ratchet and Clank again, then we should see something good come out of it. I mean, they remade Spyro the Dragon, and that looked amazing. Like, if I was, you know, set up to stream from a PS4 or something, I probably would have been playing a ton of that. And there are some games, oh man, they're remaking Medieval. Um, if you guys aren't familiar with like old PlayStation, like just action adventure games, Medieval was just like this really stupid but really fun game. It wasn't like Ghosts and Goblins hard. That game was Maximo, but I don't think anybody's gonna remake that. My sister beat the entire game in like a day. She's obsessed with Spyro. It's a good game. It's a good game. I can understand why she would be. But yeah, I'm interested in seeing how a younger audience receives Medieval, because it's one of those games that wasn't super hard, but like it's sort of like macabre and quirky. I mean, you run around with like a dilapidated skeleton smacking other demons and stuff around with his sword, but like he was never supposed to be a knight or anything. It's just don't think I love heard of it. All right, let's go ahead and die on the castle gates real quick. I might be able to get through this. Oh, I've heard of it. Okay. Wait, you have heard of it, or you don't think you've heard of it? Uh, actually, hold on. I can fix that. Okay. Oh, that's not what I'm trying to do. On the link, though. Boom. There is a YouTube link to the announcement trailer for the game being remade on PlayStation's YouTube page. So if you want to take a quick look over there, that'll tell you what it is. And it's interesting. It was one of my cousin's favorite games when he had his original PlayStation, and it was a game I remember fondly myself. Yeah, we could use Cygnus for this. Wait, no, these are Wuxing. Might be a bad idea. There's not too many physical characters that I like for this either, though. And this Black Pot. Prided. I like Runeclaw. But Tutu Delu, definitely the best. Okay, let's get physical actually kind of works here, except that shit was awesome. Frosty remembers it. Do I like fighting games? I was pretty heavy into fighting games up until the point where I decided that I wasn't buying consoles. I probably should pick up at some point Soul Calibur 6 and Fighting EX Layer. Those would probably be the two fighting games on those would be the two fighting games on my radar right now. Brother ran that as a kid. Definitely never played the OG one, but the remake looks great. I was Final Fantasy 7. Dude, I played every Final Fantasy from 1 through 10 and 12. 11 and 14 were MMOs, so I skipped those. And I didn't have a console to play 13, although if it's available on Steam, I should probably give that a shot at some point. You were gawking at that game to you while you were playing Killing Floor? Wait, which game? I did play Tekken 3. I don't have Tekken 3 on streamable. Actually, is Tekken 3 on Steam? Holy crap, the Tekken movie? Ugh. No, only Tekken 7 and Tekken X Street Fighter look to be on Steam right now. Sort this a little bit further. Oh, you were talking about Manning Cervantes. Is it on Steam? No Tekken 3? No, Tekken 3 is not on Steam. Tekken 3 would only be on PlayStation, unfortunately. So I'd have to get a PlayStation and then stream it from that. But it would be a little difficult. Do it. I don't really have the ability to do that right now. But yeah, Soul Calibur 6 does look pretty good. I watched a couple of the tournaments of people playing it. They were doing some pretty crazy stuff. Though I'm not sure if I think the new mechanic that they added to 6 is actually worthwhile. The whatchamacallit, the reversal edge, it feels like it's really silly. And it's just another gimmick added to the whole super meters being in Soul Calibur thing, which I was never quite a big fan of, but I understand it makes for flashy gameplay. Has anyone tried Jump Force? Jump Force is basically Sony's version of Final Fantasy Dissidia. Yeah, Shonen Jump wanted to make a video game, so they made it an arena fighter. I think we can get this going. Wait, no, for Black Paul, it's best to do it this way. It just has good anime characters. The main issue that people had with Jump Force was basically the fact that the animations aren't particularly fluid.
They will fall by my claw.
An enemy has opened a minion portal.
People tend to get up in arms about their animations. Can't place this there.
They will come. They will die. Got no coin.
They've broken through a gate!
Whoa. Oh wait, I can't even use gear. That's kind of crazy.
Spirit needs murder.
Yeah, this is gonna be horrible too.
We
Enemies at the rift.
After you go to bed, I recommend For Honor on Steam. I have a feeling you'd like it.
The rift has been compromised.
Is For Honor even on Steam? I thought it was whatchamacallit. That was an EA game, right? An Origin only?
Instant vindication.
This guy.
Daddy, daddy. Not yet. Mana bled out. Stronger.
Alright, got the right one.
I'll try it.
Uh-oh. Ah, it's Ubisoft. Yeah, so it's on Uplay. I'm sorry. Camera lock.
Fear not. I am here.
Uh-oh, she almost got around me. Hey, what's up? How's it going, Chaos Prophet?
Enemies are attacking on another front.
Okay.
They've broken through a gate.
We can do that. And then we'll want to do. Oh wait, they're coming out of the. Oh no, that is the gate they're coming out of. Okay. Oh, the camera got locked again. Couldn't even turn it. Increase the maximum. No. Get the cooldown. Be able to actually use the mana. Oh no, you guys can definitely run in. In you go.
We only have half our review points remaining. A guardian has been defeated. 4 enemies in the rift.
Really? Jeez, they have so much health. So they are not saving the servers? No, they don't have the ability to save the servers. The servers are getting shut down. And it's not even like a situation where it's just orcs. Yeah, that game was done. Real. I didn't realize how bad the mana drain effect would actually hurt Blackball, but it did. But yeah, the servers are going down for all the robot games. That includes Hero Academy and Hero Academy 2. Which sucks, because those are kind of good games too. Alright, let's pick something that I might actually be able to win. Ooh, that sounds nasty too. Avalanche with spawn protection. We'll be right back. I need to hit the bathroom. All right, there we go. Yeah, let's do this one. Of course I would do that and then just immediately switch to something else. For this, we can do pretty much whatever we like because it's still early. But we only have 5 rift points, so we can't afford to do anything wrong. Okay. Let's do something like this. Good. It's just refreshed for me. But that's even better. We gotta get VP to 4,000 subs. I don't think I'll see 4,000 subs this year. I don't know why they're shutting down the game. They could just make a new one. They probably are still making games because they said that they had 2 more that they planned on releasing, but I don't think the ongoing cost of a live service is really worthwhile. Like, there's just not enough people in Orcs Must Die Unchained actually spending money to keep the game going. That's ultimately what the issue is. So it would be easier to shut it down and just move on to making Orcs Must Die 3 rather than, you know, trying to continue a live service, which continually costs money rather than actually generating revenue for Robot. What about on PS4? Do you know if it's still going to be on there? All servers will be gone. There won't be any PC or PS4 Orcs Must Die Unchained. Dude, I can stay if I want. Yeah, I would like to see OMD3, but I like Unchained. Well, there's a good chance that if they do a 3, all of the feedback and things that they've learned about Unchained may fit into it. So I don't know if that necessarily means we'll see other characters, but we could see items and equipment and everything else that looks like them. It could be 3 players with like peer-to-peer matchmaking or something like that. My point is, it's completely possible to offer a similar experience to Unchained without having to pay to store servers. For the banquet hall, definitely gonna need a barricade. You know what? I'll bring the summoner traps. First hurdle is them having enough money to operate in the first place. Also, I'm actually awake now. They should have the money to operate if they're hiring new people. Which is a good sign. I don't like the PvP, to be honest, just the tower defense part of it. Well, originally this game was designed to be PvP, and that's probably why it was pitched as a live service. Well, no, it was pitched as a live service because the game was supposed to be largely Chinese, I'm sure. The reason the West got the Jade Empire part of the game later on is because that was a timed exclusive for China, I think. I'm not even sure if originally it was planned on coming over here, but it was in China like pretty much at the launch of the game. There's also a couple of Chinese exclusive characters. There's plenty of PvP games nowadays. PvE are few and far between. Yeah, but like, imagine if Orcs was in development for 5 or 6 years prior to launch. Like, you wouldn't necessarily have been able to predict that landscape. I wish they brought it to Xbox One. I know they don't like Microsoft, but yeah, that might have saved them. Robot actually, I don't think they have anything against Microsoft specifically. We caught that sneeze just in time. Okay, I don't think they have anything against Microsoft. I think that their initial platform launches were all Steam only. Like, Robot hasn't made a ton of games. They have like maybe 5 or 6 under their belt and co-developed a couple of other ones with some other people. From what I heard, they had a falling out or something. It could be possible. Yeah, Orcs Must Die is absolutely available on Xbox. Orcs Must Die 2, though, is only on PC. Hey, Ollie. The game will be ending April 8th. For everybody that is unaware of it, it will no longer exist after that time. They don't have the manpower? The manpower for what? Yeah, I don't think this has anything to do with them falling out with Xbox. The original Orcs Must Die game was available on Steam and Xbox Live. You know what it is? I remember now. Getting free-to-play games on the Xbox is a lot harder than it is on PS4. Most free-to-play titles will go through Sony first before they ever land on Xbox. Because Xbox has very specific rules about games that you allow people to play. And essentially, when Xbox created the achievement system, their one major feature is that anything that has an achievement attached to it comes at a price. So you can't get achievements unless you actually pay for the game. And so a lot of games that have like free updates that add content, that add achievements periodically and things like that, Xbox forces you to pay for all of those downloads and updates when on PC or PS4 they would be free. And it's not even just like Robot that may have had an issue with that, but that's been an issue with every free-to-play game that's attempted to get on Xbox forever. Even games that I've seen that were free Cough, Warframe, cough. Yeah. So basically, if you're creating achievements and stuff for your game, well, that and they force games to have achievements a lot too. Isn't Warframe on Xbox One? Yes, but Warframe was basically a launch title for the PS4. Like when PS4 launched, within I think a month or two of the PS4's launch, Warframe was a downloadable free to play title on it. So even though the PS4's launch actually didn't have a ton of games, them pulling in a lot of indie games and free to play stuff actually helped their launch out significantly. And that actually got a lot of my friends into Warframe. Also, if you guys haven't played Warframe or given it a shot, feel free to. It's a really good game. And with the most recent updates, you can literally acquire everything in the game at no cost. Like, if you grind enough, you no longer have to pay for Warframe or weapon slots anymore. Which is amazing. Because that used to be the only guaranteed thing that you would have to spend platinum on. Don't sign up to Warframe until go ahead, Biscuit, if you want to plug your Warframe referral link. Xbox One has the preview program? I'm actually not familiar with that. What is that? Steam Early Access? Oh, no. No, absolutely not. So, I need to warn people probably about early access titles, charging you money for them. Very few games in early access have a reason to come out of early access. A lot of games tend to linger in development states like early access for a significant period of time, and that is very dangerous for consumers if they get into the habit of buying into it. Primarily because there's no incentive once you spend your money for the developers to finish their game. If you're going to keep the title that you likely paid a reduced price for, I don't usually buy them. I got like Ark or Subnautica. Subnautica is probably one of the few games that actually looked really good in early access. Another recent example is Risk of Rain 2. Like when that game went into early access, I had followed it from literally the day that Hapu created the folder and said that they were working on Risk of Rain 2. So I knew it was going to be pretty decent because I saw the challenges and things that they were having trying to get the game converted from 2D to 3D, and the amount of care that they put in their game. I also like the original Risk of Rain a lot. The Xbox ones almost always come out. Wait, yeah, it's Prophet. You don't know what Risk of Rain is? Or Subnautica? No, you know what Subnautica is. Biscuit. if you still have that Twitch clip of us playing Risk of Rain that you clipped from the Mercenary, go ahead and throw that in. But yeah, Risk of Rain 2 is like balls to the wall, like crazy roguelike third person shooter like Mayhem. It's all of the craziness I like in shooters, but also like with an element of randomness that makes playing it repeatedly really fun, and it's really fast to just get in and out. I have a couple of streams of Risk of Rain on the channel that apparently are doing pretty good numbers. Like better than most of the other things that I put on the channel in like the past couple of months. The next map after the clip, I killed the boss, then insta died. Yeah, worms are kind of BS. Worms and fire elementals. They did a patch on Risk of Rain 2 today as well. They nerfed the robot. And they also nerfed the mercenary. There was a stealth buff that the mercenary had that wasn't intentional. So you'll now find it harder to survive as the mercenary. Rip Swordman. I did the DSI challenge. Enemies couldn't target the mercenary after any of his non-primary attacks. So the whirlwind, the dash, and the invisible blade cut, all of those made enemies lose their ability to target you. Not anymore. So basically, you're going to die a lot more. And profit. While it is sad to see live services go away, mostly what that means is that companies created these games without an infrastructure that could support them.
This will be their end. This will stop them.
No, I don't want to do that. I should do it this way.
Let them come. If I were them, I'd tread lightly.
It isn't just the elemental type boss, it also has to have an elite prefix. Okay.
Lure them here. Useful. Building a better mouse, orc trap. Carefully set.
The enemy has opened a minion portal.
Most of the time they run out of money because they can't compete. Like Gigantic got squashed by other MOBAs. Gigantic really didn't feel like a MOBA. It was probably the game that was the finest on the line between like a hero shooter and a MOBA. But also, like, MOBAs are a genre that, honestly, it's completely an accident why they're popular. Like, MOBAs generally are not friendly for people to learn. Their communities have basically grown into some of the most entitled groups of gamers that exist.
Let them come. Lure them here.
Yeah, I'm a little short.
Look out! Our defenses have been breached again!
And it really becomes an issue when you try to migrate a group of people like that over to a new title.
They've broken through a gate!
Like, anytime you're trying to create something and, like,
Building a better
people are attempting to tell you what you owe them in the inside of that experience that you're creating with, you know, no actual input or benefit that could be useful to you at all, that's just really weird. There you go, guys. You can just turn right around. Then again, what MOBA Heroes of the Storm community are a bunch of pricks. Then again, which community isn't? Which MOBA community? I don't know. I like one of my buddies tries to get me into MOBAs like very often, and like, I kid you not, he literally just says he plays the game so he can get mad. I like Gigantic. There were just other better games I was playing, and that happened to others, so they were not giving them money. They couldn't keep up the servers either. Yeah. Like, there is a situation when there's just too many games in a genre.
Our barricades are under attack!
Like, generating the generating the attention necessary to actually keep a game afloat is difficult. It's not something that you can do overnight. It's not easy. It requires a good bit of effort, and not everybody's going to be able to do it. And once, like, just the strength of a very large brand gets in the way, you really won't be able to do much about it. And you have to think of, like, with Valve and Dota 2 and the fact that they've been using that as a cash cow forever. Tencent / Riot and League of Legends. You know, I probably should actually be building this back so that it's turning into something.
Destroyed the unstable rift.
Need to go lick my wounds. Or find a health potion. Whichever.
They've destroyed our barricades!
I have to build up a barricade. Well, yeah, but my point is, like, public consciousness generally doesn't do well holding on to multiple things of the same type. Like, they like to generalize things because it becomes easy to have conversations with people about it. I'm not sure how many of you are aware of just how like ridiculous business terminology and everything gets with things like that, but people get super serious about protecting trademarks and brands. Like, for instance, when I was growing up, and people had, like, Nintendo had become ubiquitous for home consoles. Like, it was, if you had a, whoa, that was close. if you had, I didn't even see that in the ground. If I had this on PC, if I had it on Xbox One, I would have played it a lot more and gave the money. Live service style game only works when the game is good, and there are only few. But nowadays there are live service game every which way, but normal people are rare to see. Like, man, I really want to talk about this more, but I'm trying to actually play through this map at the same time.
The boss minion has entered the battlefield.
Tread lightly.
Unstable rift is opening. Quick, destroy it.
Our barricades are under attack. They've destroyed our barricades.
That's all pause for now.
Nobody's actually destroying the barricades. It's just the freaking bear.
Our barricades are under attack. Rift is failing. The boss minion has been
Oh,
taken
you
down.
know what? I completely forgot about Orphan. Alright, now I can actually talk about this without being like super distracted between the two. Someone forgets the boss. Yeah, completely did. So, what I was trying to say is, just as an example of like how ridiculous stuff like this gets, and just public consciousness in general regarding like brands or items, once something holds a spot, it becomes like the thing. Let's just grab a beer and make a toast to honor OMDU and be glad we could enjoy it while it lasted. Like, yeah, if anybody wanted to see a stream where I just failed every match that I was in, this is it. But alright, so as an example, when I was younger, because you know I'm older now, that's how youth works, I guess. When I wasn't old enough to actually do a lot of things legally, a lot of my elders, people that were older than me, older cousins and things like that, had basically gotten in their minds that like any sort of home console was a Nintendo. So you'd get a Sega Master System, it was a Nintendo. You get a Sega Genesis, it was a Nintendo. You got a Super Nintendo, that was a Nintendo too. You got a TurboGrafx 16, that was a Nintendo. And like up until about like the 2000s, like they weren't snapping out of it, and Nintendo actually got really pissed off about this, and they had public, like they had PSAs, like cards created, ads, where they literally just told people to stop calling every console a Nintendo because it hurt their trademark. And so like the way that trademarks work is that you have to defend them in court. If anybody tries to like you call something else whatever your trademark is, and if public consciousness is such that like people associate that item with, you know, just a general item, then you could possibly lose your trademark. Like, it's so utilitarian, it's nuts. So they had to actively convince everybody to stop calling everything that wasn't a Nintendo a Nintendo. And like, could you imagine, like, that's also probably why Nintendo got into the habit of creating different names for their consoles after the Super Nintendo. Because they had realized that if they just kept calling everything Nintendo, then that trend could have continued and actually have been disastrous. So the moniker for their next console, which was the Nintendo 64, just got shortened to N64. Because that was quicker to say, and it prevented people from just saying Nintendo all the time, even though it was a Nintendo console. And after the N64, you went on to the GameCube. Well, technically before the N64, they tried to create the Nintendo PlayStation. And that extremely famous and ridiculous gaffe where they blew off Sony to try to get a cheaper product made by Philips, actually wound up creating PlayStation, which is hilarious. And if there was ever a situation where a company like botched a business decision so hard and created one of their biggest competitors, that is it. Like, you can thank Nintendo for creating PlayStation. GameCube, which is just a console in cube shape, so not a great name. I mean, yes, but like the GameCube's design and name was pretty ubiquitous. Like, nobody was confused about what a GameCube was or what you could play on it. Or in layman's term, GameCubes are for Smash, and that is about it. There were some good games on GameCube. Like, people don't give it enough credit for some of the stuff that's on there. Like the original Resident Evil remake, I believe, came out on GameCube. There's a lot of stuff that came out on GameCube that was really nice. Someone explain what the fuck a GameCube is. Pikmin and Rogue Trooper. Oh yeah, yeah. Those are fun too. Yeah, man, like that whole GameCube, PS2, Xbox era was probably one of the best times in, like, actually, like, from about Super Nintendo, the 16-bit era, up until about the era where digital media first hit, like consoles, was probably one of the greatest times to ever play video games, because there was so much stuff being put out at the time, like of good quality, that it was ridiculous. There was some bad games. Like, you're never gonna get away with a period that doesn't have bad games. So many RNC games on PS2. RNC? Trying to think of what RNC is. I can't actually think of it. Huh. Ratchet and Clank. Oh, yeah. The PS2 was pretty much ubiquitous with it was synonymous with all the freaking platformers then. If you think about Spyro the Dragon, Jack and Daxter, Ratchet and Clank, uh what else? Was the original Knack on PS2? It might have been PS3. Yeah, but I don't usually abbreviate games. I actually say them, so. Sly Cooper, yeah. Um, yeah, Devil May Cry, the first 3 games were all on PS2. Um, what about the Matrix game? We don't talk about the Matrix game. The Matrix had some really bad video games made for it. Some were actually pretty crazy though. They were just buggy, from what I remember. Uh, so there were some games that were like really experimental that were made on PS2 that were, it was really really good. One of them I owned called um Oni. Oni was a game actually made by Bungie, and it was this like super crazy like 3D cop brawler. If you could think of like A game like Die Hard. Wait, the mattress game? What is the mattress game? Champions of Norath and Dark Alliance. Oh yeah, yeah. Only I love that game. Me and my dad played it on PC. Yeah, I didn't even know it came out on PC when I had it on on PS2. Actually, since it's out on PC, I should see if it's possible to acquire that in some way. Back in the Power of Juju. I don't know if you can anymore. Yeah, it was made by Rockstar. Rockstar made a ton of good games. It was Rockstar and Bungie, I think. And the game's visuals were all in the style of like Ghost in the Shell and Akira, but it played somewhat like Dynamite Cop. Juju? No, Juju is actually a spiritual belief system, or a connotation of spiritual belief. It's spelled Juju. It wasn't really like Mirror's Edge. It wasn't. There wasn't a emphasis on parkour specifically, but it did have some interesting movement options like jump flipping and sliding, which you could use to deal with enemies. The gunplay was actually pretty tame, though it did have guns, and they were like OP as hell because you were basically a cop trying to take down like operatives and stuff in closed spaces. San Andreas, yeah, like all of the Grand Theft Auto games that came out on in the PS2 era were amazing. Grand Theft Auto 3 was the first one to go in 3D and push the limits. And then you had Vice City, which was literally my sister's favorite game. Like I would come home and she would just be playing my PS2 all the time when I had that. And then San Andreas was basically the same thing. Um hmm. So you could still find copies of the PS2 version of Oni. Oh, actually, there's somebody selling the Oni PC game on eBay right now. Oh, that's a bit old though. I might look into getting it, like I said. Basically, childhood games that seemed good at the time when you try it again now would feel pretty trash. I don't think that's true. Um, there's a lot of games that you could actually bring back up and play, and they really don't feel bad at all. Now this goes for well-made games. Like a well-made game will always be a well-made game. There have been quality of life features and things that people have designed up until now that would probably make them better games, but that's what remasters are for. Ultimately, if the game's core gameplay wasn't interesting or good, they still wouldn't be good games. Like if you went back and played Super Metroid right now, as long as you enjoyed Metroidvanias, that would still be a great game. Streets of Rage is still good, and Golden Axe, beat 'em ups pretty much still exist. I mean, to some extent, games like Streets of Rage and Golden Axe have evolved into things like Ninja Gaiden Black and Devil May Cry. Like, the movement and everything's a little bit more chaotic since they're 3D now, but we have Streets of Rage 4 on the way too. If you're still looking for 2D games. I have all the Ratchet and Clank games, Cooper, Silent Hills. I liked Silent Hills up until 4. I think the ones after that tried to become a bit too action oriented and kind of lost the some of the spirit of what survival horror is supposed to be. Spyro's, Tony Hawk games, GTA's Matrix, and the infamous Simpsons Road Rage. Dude, I saw somebody speed running Simpsons Hit and Run on Twitch like a couple days ago. Or like 007 GoldenEye. No, 007 GoldenEye is still fun. I can guarantee you, if you get 4 players, split screen, minds only, and go to the temple, you will still have a blast. Pun entirely intended. Slappers only, oh lord. Slappers only, big heads, instagib. One chop and you die. Or no, it wouldn't be instagib and GoldenEye. What is it? I forgot the rule that makes it so that you die really easily there. It's not man with the golden gun. That just makes a golden gun spawn somewhere. That game was the cause of 90% of me and my 4 brothers' fights. Wow. Well, I mean, it could be worse. You could have been playing Perfect Dark. The silent sequel to GoldenEye that only ran at 23 frames per second. Where you could set the bots to a difficulty that was so ridiculous that they only got headshots. Oh man, PS2 also had the first Red Faction game, which was the first FPS that I actually owned on a console, I think. All my other FPSs would have been on PC. And I played the hell out of Red Faction too. Like, the game was fun. The original Red Faction with you, like, tunneling through walls with your rocket launcher. And those games you can still go back to and play to this day because, you know what? Physical copies. Physical copies. Only a VP streams what we chat about childhood memories while looking at a menu and be content. And look, this is the true content that you subscribed for. This is why you're here. Ever play Star Ocean? Have I played Star Ocean? So I've finished both of the first 2 games. I've cleared and played with every single character that exists in Star Ocean 2. I have not finished 3 or 4, though I believe no wait, did I finish 3? I believe I got pretty far in 3, but I never got to finish it. And I have 4 on PC now. What about Star Fox? Which one? Like I fought True Andros in both the first and Star Fox 64. I don't. I forgot to put the. Yeah, I did. Oof. Yeah, you might as well just take the L on this one. There's no barricades. I've played Star Fox and Star Fox 64. I have not done Star Fox Adventures on GameCube. The summoners are in the deck. I just lost. But yeah, I love the Star Fox games, especially the dogfighting that they added in Star Fox 64. That was definitely a cool aspect of it.
Strike from the shadow. Building a better mouse, orc trap. This will be their end. Useful. Sneaky.
The enemy has opened a minion portal.
Lure them here.
Anyone else remember Spyro on Game Boy? I remember lots of things on Game Boy. I remember when Square was afraid to market their games under their original names, so they renamed the first Seiken Densetsu game Final Fantasy Adventures. That was definitely funny.
This will stop them. Let them come. If I were them, I'd tread lightly. Carefully set.
Look out! Our defenses have been
Like, I think it's funny how bold, like, game developers in the West are now, considering how, like, afraid to take risks developers had to be in the past. Like, there were situations in the past where, like, companies were afraid that all video games would have been banned. Like, they were going to shut down arcades and everything just wouldn't exist. Alright.
Well, gotta watch my tail.
Oh, I forgot to actually bring something to,
I can taste their blood already.
Our barricades are under attack.
So I messed up. I don't have a ranged character, and one of the things that you have to deal with on this map is those chandeliers. If you don't knock them down, your ballistas can't shoot through them. If OMD3 is a thing, hopefully Unstable Rifts in the Merc won't be a thing. I don't know about that. Mercenaries aren't really a bad feature. They make things interesting and add a bit of randomness to the game. Though they could probably be refined. The mercenaries will probably be turned into story characters if that's the case. I mean, we won't know anything until Robot says, so no use worrying about it right now.
This will be their end. Building a better mouse. Orc trap.
But I'm not too sure about Unstable Rifts. Unstable Rifts basically have devolved into either always bringing BGH ballistas or just having to run away from your traps every once in a while. And I don't think they really do much. I still say Dwarf OP. Oh, the Dwarf is obviously the best. Like, he is the ender of runs.
I am justly rewarded. Lure them here. Carefully set.
Oh no, he's a bit too close. Okay, I gotta move him. Good thing I don't have lose rift points on death. Wow, they let you survive, huh?
Useful.
They've summoned a boss minion.
Alright, that's the one that I have to go deal with.
An unstable rift is opening. Destroy it.
And just
The boss minion is down.
And he's done.
Destroy the unstable rift.
that's on pause for now. That will do.
And if they do make it OMD3, they can bring poison damage back as an actual damage type finally. There's poison damage in this game, but only the Chef and Midnight can do it, which is kind of ridiculous. It's a damage type that has a built-in slow. Like, who wouldn't want that everywhere, right?
This will stop them.
Our barricades are under attack. They've destroyed our barricades.
Why are they so mad? Still gonna die anyway.
I must concentrate.
Alright, we'll just put that back.
This will be their end.
I don't know. Would you guys be interested in me playing like some relatively older games, like if I did streams of them? But you know, like good ones. I probably don't have the ability to connect any older consoles right now because like I don't have any. But if my channel were to get up to the point where like I could go and purchase a bunch of old consoles and a capture card, probably wouldn't be opposed to it. And of course I'd be, you know, playing all of the new hotness. If they were Ratchet and Clank, sure.
They've destroyed our barricades.
And I've destroyed them too.
If I were them, I'd tread lightly. Lure them here. And you die, and you die, and you die.
He's the Oprah of dying, apparently. Yeah, it's pretty much good to go now. So, we can talk.
Wait till I get my paws on them now.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do it until I actually had everything set up. But we can think about it. And with Nintendo not being absolutely insane with some of the things that they're doing now, that means that some of the older games could actually be fair game. I still need to crack into Borderlands 1 Remastered. It looks good. It looks good. I booted it up before I had to run to the docks today. Just make sure you load up the enhanced version, because you'll have gotten Borderlands Game of the Year Edition and then Borderlands Game of the Year Edition Enhanced. The enhanced one is the one with the added features. The other one, they just gave everybody who owns the game all the DLC. Because nobody's going to play full price for a 10-year-old game anymore, I guess. Oh snap, stream that shiz. I was thinking about doing it, like getting an OG Borderlands stream together with Nitro and Biscuit after, like, you know, the whole April 8th shutdown happens. So sometime next week. Because I love me some original Borderlands. I personally find that like the mechanics and things that are in the first Borderlands are better than Borderlands 2. It's just that Borderlands 2 is basically a more recent game, and so it plays better. But you know, whenever Borderlands 3 happens, I'm probably jumping on that train.
Our barricades are under attack.
I need to see if CE can give me more golden keys. You don't need more golden keys. Or if I gotta wait for someone to make an editor for it. I like the relic system. The relic system actually, like, out of all of the systems for that additional slot that Borderlands has been trying to work on, I feel like the O2 system and the pre-sequel was actually functionally better. It was more unique and gave you more options due to the way that game was set up to play. I don't like relics that much because like health and shield relics don't matter. There's a lot of damage gating in Borderlands 1 and 2. So actually increasing like health and shields doesn't matter that much. You just need to get like ridiculous amounts of regen. Regen's where it's at.
The final wave approaches.
O2 were annoying. The only useful thing is for faster resing. Yes, but faster resing is like amazing for Borderlands. Like if everybody had quick res, then like multiplayer would be so much easier. But also it would mean that like they could make the fights crazier for multiplayer because of, you know, that particular feature. I just liked it for their elemental attributes in Borderlands 1. Yeah, that was about all they were good for. Wow, rip kids.
The path of 9 lives leads to victory.
Don't like O2 plays Death Trap. That's something that I gotta get back to, some Death Trap. Elemental in Borderlands 1 greater than Borderlands 1.52. I agree with that too. I felt like the elements were all kind of concentrated and they worked really well against what they worked against. And Blast wasn't relegated to either like being like some weird gimmicky thing. Hey, we actually beat a map. I guess I've ruined my loss streak. Health drain now? Jeez. Baths is probably doable, but that's gonna get nasty later. But I did intend for this to be a relatively short stream, so probably a good time to get ready to call it a night. But I think I'll probably be back streaming more Orcs Must Die Unchained tomorrow. And yeah, I agree, elements in Borderlands 1 were way better. So yeah, if we can get Nitro in, then we will. But if not, then it'll probably just be me and Biscuit running through Borderlands 1. Nitro hasn't been streaming as much, so it might just be, you know, me going through it again. But I have no problem with that. And we'll play the dead guy, you know. I like the main soldier, just because I like support characters. But yeah, well, we can definitely do some Borderlands 1 remastered. I want to do some more Risk of Rain, but like I don't know if me streaming that forever is necessarily the best idea. There's a lot of other games I have to play and show off. We can get back to some more tower defense stuff too, because I want to do some of that. I never played Borderlands 1 DLC. We can do the DLC. We can do some of the DLC. I don't want to I don't think I'll full clear Moxie's, just because it really gets tedious once you get to like the 20 round Underdome stuff. But we can do Dr. Ned's. And what else? There's Dr. Ned's, there's the Claptrap one, and then I guess there's just the Chromarex fight. Any other characters? I mean, I don't know if we'll be able to play with all of the characters through it, just because that would take a decent amount of time. Mainly because I'll stream whenever I get my 50-foot Ethernet cable. Oh, like playable DLC characters. There are no DLC characters in the original Borderlands. There's just the 4 main characters. The only thing that was added with the update for Borderlands 1 Remastered Game of the Year Edition is 6 legendary weapons. One of which we know is the Hive Mind, which is a triple burst. No, sorry, not a triple burst. It's a 3-round burst rocket launcher. Doesn't fire 3 rounds at once like some of the other launchers in the game. Okay, the Go Roland for sure. He was my main. Yeah, I like chucking turrets at people. my phone hear me? I'll deal with that later. But yeah, that's probably what we'll wind up doing. And I guess we can start that on the 8th. Have a good night, bro. Can't wait for more streams. You'll definitely see me around on streams a bit more often. I plan on doing at least for a week, though that probably will mean that like actual videos will suffer for a while. But if I get around to, you know, updating those and do them again, I want to make short ones that like actually just get across some of the things that I like that are coming out soon. But I'm not sure like how to format them yet. But once I get that done, it'll probably be similar to the ones that I did for Satisfactory. But we'll see. Either way, I want to get to bed. So thank you guys for showing up. I sincerely appreciate it. Always love chatting with you about old games and new. And until next time, you take care of yourselves and have a good one, folks.